Hi everyone, welcome back to Liz Sews and my May makes. I did not get a whole lot done this month. Life got in the way. I lost some motivation, I got sick, I had some business trips. The stars were not aligned. It got really hot in the sewing room and it just wasn't very comfortable. And my sewing room doubles as my office, so I was in there a lot while I was on conference calls and stuff like that, and then the projects would stare at me while I'm in the middle of work, and then the last thing I wanted to do was spend a couple more hours in there and sew, so it just didn't sew that much. Blah. Enough excuses, let's just get on to what you guys came here for and show you all my makes. The first one I have on is yet another Ogden cami. I made 2 of them this month. I promise I'm slowing down. No more Ogden camis, maybe a couple more Ogden camis, but I have a lot of them now. I love grabbing them because it's just so easy to throw on. You don't have to think about anything, and they're so comfortable. Doesn't matter if you had a big meal or anything like that. They're just great to wear. So the first one I have is fabric that was from Joann's, and it has a slight bit of stretch to it, but it's still a polyester, and it has this sort of pale blue and tan botanical print on it. So this one really tends to lean more spring, but I definitely still liked wearing it in the summer. The other Ogden cami that I made is this sort of, I guess it's brown feather material. It is so soft against the skin, but again, it's 100% polyester, and I got this from Joann's, but you know, not much to say about this. We've seen this pattern. I didn't make any changes from the last 20 times I've made it, so I'll just show you what I look like wearing it. One of the larger projects that I did this month was Butterick 6413, and this is a Patterns by Gertie. I was a very good girl, and I did a muslin of this bodice first because I knew that it really needed to fit perfectly in order to be effective, and I made a lot of alterations to it. So I added a 1/2 inch, no, 3/4 of an inch to the front. I did take up the sleeves just a little bit, so they were like much looser and they just sort of like fell down. So I spread and overlapped the top of the sleeve just so it had a little bit tighter around the neckline, and then I altered the bust portion just a little bit because the keyhole triangle was really distorted and long, and so I shortened this distance so that it got more of that like diamond shape in the triangle. And all of the alterations I think did really well. I could probably take the sleeves in just a tad more, but they're okay, they're comfortable, they're not tight at all. And so that was one thing I'm really worried about because my arms tend to be bigger than what most patterns are drafted for. So the idea of taking in the shoulder was a little bit scary, but it definitely helped, I think, for how the dress hung. So I had originally made this dress with a full gathered skirt, and I wasn't quite sure about how it looked, and I posted it up on Facebook group for Gertie's Patterns, and somebody had suggested that I just cut off the skirt and put the slim skirt on, and then I could reuse the gathered portion to make a separate skirt. So that is exactly what I have done. So here we have the full skirt that goes along with the dress. It is using the same material, obviously, because this is the skirt that used to be on the dress. And I just took it off and did a straight, rectangular one-piece waistband that's just folded over, and put in a short 7-inch zip in the back. And it was really simple to put together because even though there's yards of fabric in it, it was already hemmed because it was part of the dress. So it was a great way to sort of like change the dress up and make it what I wanted it to be. Now, the absolute genius of making a gathered skirt and then a dress with a slim skirt is that when you combine the two, you can now have a third look. So that is what I'm going to show you guys now. I just did a simple sort of gathered skirt with a straight waistband, and then I put a zipper in the back, I do think that the bodice of the dress does still need to be just a little bit longer, but it's okay. And I love how now I have this option of going full skirt or a sexy siren skirt, and I can wear it either way I want, and it's very easy to change between the two. So I also did make another purse set this month, and I'm really happy with this set. I think I've used it almost non-stop since I've made it, so this is definitely my favorite one. So I used this fennel cork fabric that I picked up from So Sweetness here in Chicago, and I have all copper hardware from Handmade bags. I use these very simple strap anchors, which I really like, but they are a pain in the arse to get in. It does not go in easily. And then I just have a copper Handmade label, and again, copper feet at the bottom of the bag. Let's see, the inside of the bag, I did use a bunch of batik fabrics in this one, which I really like. I have a more green batik that's used for the pocket, and then sort of a seafoam batik that I'm using for the bag lining. A couple things that I did differently is that on my last cork bag, I noticed that I did get some cracking along the top, so where the seam was like stitched and flipped in. So instead of doing that, I've just left this top edge raw, and I slid in the lining, which I had sewn up completely, into the bag itself, and then just top stitched around the top. And because it's cork, it shouldn't have any issues with like fraying or anything like that. And so far, like I've said, I've used it non-stop this month and I haven't had any issues. Also, for the straps, I didn't want to do in the fold and turn method for the straps either, so I just cut out 2 straps that were 1 inch wide and just sandwiched them together with wrong sides together. So again, all of this is sort of just the raw edge of the cork, but I'm really happy with this bag. I love it. It's my favorite. And then I also did a matching NCW necessary clutch wallet to go with it. Again, this has been my favorite. I've used it non-stop. Copper hardware. I did have some issues with the turn lock on this one, but it was like it just wasn't machined correctly, and the screws didn't reach all the way to the turn lock itself. Even if you didn't have fabric in it, the screws didn't reach. So I reached out to Handmade bags, and Janelle, the owner, was super nice about it. She sent me a replacement lock immediately. I think I had it in like a couple of days, and I was so happy that she did that, because you know, I had placed this order probably back in January, and I wasn't sure, you know, I know it's annoying for me to come back in 5 months later and be like, hey, this doesn't work. But she was so nice about it and sent me a replacement. She also sent me some longer screws too, but it still didn't work. Like it's just, I don't think it was machined correctly. Like the thread just wasn't there. So on the inside, I have the same green batik that's in the pocket of the larger tote bag. And then I have, I did do the fabric wings like I did last time, but instead of doing the turn and or the sew and turn method, because I noticed that I got a lot of extra bulk the last time that I did it, I just left this edge of the cork again raw, so the cork extends all the way to the edge, and then that's it. And I think that turned out a lot better. You don't have anywhere near as much bulk in that wing section. I didn't do 2 zipper pockets this time. I only did 1, and then I just have the divider pocket, because I found I really wasn't using the second zipper pocket very much. And I ran out of fabric, so the lining of the zipper pocket is a completely new material, and it is another batik in just a purple, sort of grapey purple colorway that I had sitting around. What else to say about this? I did little cork extensions, and this is the first time I've used the smaller 1/2 inch D-ring, and I think I like that 1/2 inch D-ring a lot better. I've also made a strap to go with this, a hand strap, but I don't seem to have it up here. So you know what a hand strap looks like. But so this is my 1, 2, 3, this is my 4th NCW, and I think I have finally got it down packed. I'm really thrilled with how this one has turned out. And then it wouldn't be Liz Sews if I didn't have a couple of bras. I actually have been really into wearing soft bras lately, so I made 4 this month and none of them have underwires. I think it's just because it's hotter. It's been like 80s and 90s degrees, and I just find these a little bit more comfortable to wear. So the first one I have is a Geordie bralette. I did this one in white, and then I used sort of this lovely like light peach pink lace that goes in it. So super happy with that one. Then I did a navy blue version of the Geordie bralette. I used, again, navy blue tulle and then some of the like Aegean blue lace that I had shown in a couple videos ago. I have a ton of this lace, so I'm still going to use this to make a bra, like a real bra, not just like a comfy lounging bra. But I'm just really excited with the Geordie bralette pattern. I think it's so comfortable. It's so fast to put together. It's really easy to wear. And then the last Geordie that I made does not use any lace. This one just has some bra tulle, and that's all. It's just a sheer cup. It's 1 layer? Yeah, 1 layer of bra tulle. So I love how sporty this looks, and again, it's so breathable and comfortable in the summer when it gets really, really hot. The last bra that I've made is the Darcy bralette, and I actually have a YouTube tutorial for this one, and I will try to link it up above here. And I have done view 3, I believe. It has a sort of sheer mesh panel in the front. I'm really, really excited with how this one turned out. So I used some of this blue scuba. I mean, I've seen it all over the place. I think it comes from Fabric Styles in the UK. I personally don't buy from Fabric Styles because their shipping is crazy. I think I looked at it and I wanted to buy like a yard of fabric, and they're like, great, the yard of fabric is $5 and the shipping is $45. I'm like, that's stupid. So I actually was able to find this scuba from Beware in Sweden, and her shipping is fabulously cheaper. And I think also I've seen this, I think I may have seen this in the TaylorMade shop in the US as well. I've seen the scuba a lot of places. So it's a really, really fun navy blue scuba, and it has all these bright, beautiful flowers on it. I just love how it looks with the green and pink. And then on the inside, I have fully lined this one in Power Net. I always get Power Mesh and Power Net confused in my head. So the lining is completely self-enclosed seams, and I am in love with how the inside of this bra looks. So if you're interested in making one of these yourself, be sure to check out my tutorial. The last thing that I worked on this month, if you watched my Made Plans videos, I said I was going to make a pair of cigarette pants. So I did get to work on that. I did the first draft of the pattern block, and then I made my first muslin. So this is completely a self-drafted pant, which is, it's sort of a new technique for me, because mostly I use Big 4 patterns the most frequently. So I thought it would be kind of interesting to draft my own patterns based on my measurements, and I just wanted to see like how different am I than the standard block measurements. And then I was just hoping to get something that fits like extraordinarily well. So these pants are okay for a first draft. I think they fit really well on the waist and the hip area. One thing I need to do is shorten this front crotch curve, and then I need to lengthen the back crotch curve, because I think what happens is I get a little bagging right in the front where my legs meet my torso. I get some bagging up in the front here, but then the back seam is in there. So I think that the length of the curve is correct, but I just need to like redistribute some of that length from the front into the back, and it'll be a lot more comfortable. The craftsy cloths that I'm using has you draft a block using just a straight leg like trouser pattern, and this is really, really good. It falls really straight. The side seam is really straight on me, so I think this is good. So I just need to get that fitting perfectly all up
on the top or the foundation of the pant. And then what you do is you go back in and you just narrow this down to your exact measurements after you've created your block, and that's how you do the cigarette pant. So I'm excited. I do think that, I don't know, next month is going to be a little rough. There's a lot of stuff happening, but I'm hoping to get this pair of pants finished by then. Luckily, the material that I'm using is sort of like just this cranberry red color. So if I make these as ankle length cigarette pants, I think they should easily transition into fall and winter. So even if I don't get it finished right away, it's something I can definitely wear year round.